Okay. Hello, everybody. I hope you are all good. Let me just check that we are live. I hope you're hanging in there well. I hope you're finding some peace amidst all the storm. Just give me a second. Yes, we are live. Okay. Always got to check first before we crack on. So, people may or may not have been aware of what our wonderful Prime Minister said today, which is around the impending kind of like lockdown, whatever you want to call it. But what he said was that he's make a decision in the next 24 hours. He's going to make a decision in the next 24 hours. Well, you know, neighbours. All right, let me just do that. So, what I wanted to do was make a video because if he declares that we're going to have like a lockdown, a quarantine zone, a self-imposed, or I suppose government-imposed space where we just have to bunker down for a bit, then that doesn't leave us a lot of time. Just ask the questions that we'll need to ask that we might not be able to ask in a bit. And that really comes down to neighbours. To do videos about ourselves and what we can take from all this and how we can grow and look after ourselves. And in all fairness, I'm all for, I'm a strong believer in that you must love and look after yourself before you can look after others. You must be able to receive before you can give, receive love from yourself. However, with potentially less than 24 hours to go until Boris says, look, guys, you need to stay at home for the benefit of all things, which is cool. I really want to raise the question about neighbours because I mean, I look back to the photos where my grandma was like alive and they would be chatting over fences and all sorts of stuff. And I don't know where people live right now, but I do know one thing. And a lot of people don't really know their neighbours. And it might just be that we're coming into a space and time where understanding who lives near you, not just for support, but there are some people that live in our community who could really do with some love. And so we're going to start with who is the nearest person to you that is the oldest. Grab a pen, grab some paper, and answer the question. Like, seriously, where do you live? Do you live in blocks of flats? Do you live on an estate? Do you live in the middle of the country? Do you live on a normal terrace street? You know, wherever you live, like, just have a ponder. Is everyone around you really old, or are you quite a young community? Just really start to think. I saw Christina brought my attention to a really lovely post from Phil Burton, and he was just commenting on how he went into the stores, into Tesco, and he walked down an aisle, and there was like nothing on any of the aisles, and there was just a lady who was at least in her 70s, and she was almost in tears. Just didn't have anything to buy, couldn't believe it, and it really. And in the post, he called out people that are buying too much stuff, which is an easy thing to call out because we don't know that's what happened. It's likely that's what's happened, but it might have just been because the stores just don't have that much stuff. So regardless, there's people in our community that could really do with a little bit of love and support. So I want to start with who's the nearest person to you that's a bit older than the others that you might just want to check in on. Because where I'm going with all this is we're writing letters for neighbours. We're going to post them either tonight or tomorrow morning, just with a little link to a WhatsApp group, because then at least the people in those homes, we can all talk to each other in a little clustered local area. An older person might not be able to. So this could be a really nice window because they could be really worried about what's coming. So just nice to go over with love, with compassion, and just say, hey, I live across the road. We might not have spoken much before, but I just want you to know this is my name. And if you need me, I'm here. You don't have to knock on because they might already be self-quarantining. Just post it through the letterbox. Just allow them the space. You don't even have to interact with them if you don't want, but just allow that person to know that someone's thinking of them. Someone is thinking of them because they're not on all this social media like us, maybe. So that's the first thing. Who's the nearest, oldest person to you? Okay, question number 2. Who's the nearest person to you that is on their own? And I think this is a really important one. This could be the elderly person, could be a really young person. I know some women and some men who are in their whatever age you want to call it, middle age, who live on their own. And so I'm not near those people, but it's nice to just think who's in your community, in your area, that is living on their own, and what can you do to help them. So let me just check something here. I just realized I wasn't getting comments. Hey, Freddie. Freddie says, well, I can't leave them on. I live in an independent living scheme's phone number would be better. Oh, okay, cool. Do you mean the phone number would be better instead of WhatsApp? How do I get these comments up all the time? There we go. Okay, Freddie. So let me know if that's if that would make more sense for yourself, if having a phone number. So like passing off any information is ultimately better than no information. Yeah, there's so much stuff that this CV19 is bringing about, but also a really good opportunity to just kind of look who lives in your local area. How can you help them? I think that's really, really cool. Freddie says yes. Okay, so in that instance, Freddie is someone who would prefer a phone number than a WhatsApp. Hand over whatever you can. And also I think it's just nice to know that this is my name written down on a piece of paper, because look, I know half of my neighbors around here, but I forget the name sometimes. So it's just nice to go, oh, thank you very much. So we're going to give one of these to all of our neighbors through the letterbox, not actually going to knock on, purely because then we're respecting wherever they're at. They might be self-quarantining, they might not. So it's a nice little thing. Okay. Who is the nearest person to you that requires assistance to live and get by? This could be someone that is has some form of disability. It could be someone who, I suppose everything would kind of fall under that factor. There could be other things that I'm not thinking about. Like let me know if there's things that people do that would require assistance that don't in that category. But just having a ponder who has someone that checks in on them every single day. Is that person still going to check in on them? Because if not, then that can be a really nice way to say, hey, look, I'm only up the road. They've obviously might have to look after themselves for a little bit, but knowing that someone's just up the road is really, really nice. Hey, Joe, I hope you're good, honey. So if someone's on your street that's usually having someone that's stopping by, or someone might be on your street that normally has to go to the shops every single day because that's just part of their routine, or whatever it might be, it's just understanding that comments coming through here. It's understanding that that people have got totally different needs. So whether they are elderly, whether they are on their own, whether they are a person who needs assisted living. Hey, Zoe Monk, I've spoken to yourself in ages. How are you doing? So have a think about where you live and who's in your area and what category they may or may not fall into, right? Because these are the people that, as it's moving forward, you might be totally cool with having a lockdown. You've got all your board games, you've got food, you've got everything, but not everyone's in that position. So ponder where they're at, put yourself in their shoes for a little bit. So ultimately, what can you do about all of this? So the first thing that we're going to be doing is, let's have a look. I'm going to make a nice banner from it. Letter and a mobile number and a name. So what can you do? There we go. Hey Monica, how you doing? Freddie says, I worked 9 years in Whalley Range with age friendly. Older people have a great aversion to online. Absolutely. Which is why like them knowing who lives across the road from them can be really, really, really important. Because I think, and also getting it on a piece of paper. Like I know tons of people, they just don't want text. In fact, the only thing they want phone for is to make a phone call. That's it. You start getting any more techie than that and they're not interested. So writing a letter to them, and it can just be a little scribbly piece of paper. You can print it off, you can do whatever you want. Writing a letter, putting it through someone's door, give them your name, give them your mobile number. We're making a little WhatsApp group, just this area, so that if someone needs support, it's not just on our heads to offer that support, to give that to support. Having a tiny little WhatsApp group, and I'm talking for like the 5 houses in front of you and 5 houses either side. It doesn't have to be a massive thing. But again, if maybe they might feel inspired to pass it on to somewhere else as well. Freddie says a friendly face is really necessary. Absolutely. And so many of us get a friendly face from online, but not everybody is online. It's really important to note. So handing over these things, put them through the letterbox. Tonight and tomorrow morning, well, tonight's tonight. I haven't heard anything unless people have heard otherwise. Let's have a look. Does anybody know if Mr. Boris Johnson has updated us with a decision? I think plenty of them are scared of this, yeah, because it's a massive unknown. It is a massive unknown. What's that? Okay, so Boris Johnson, latest news. Johnson threatens stricter rules if people flout distancing rules. Deaths reach 281. So I'm not reading that anything's broken, as in like news is broken. Freddie says most of them hate change of any kind, really. Exactly. So understanding that some of the most vulnerable people in our communities and societies now, the ones that we might not always speak to, are not only vulnerable, not only a bit older, not only maybe more used to their routines, they might have less friends in their community and their social lives. They're also got an aversion to going online. They might know less people in their community. So, and that's only dealing with the elderly that can live anywhere in any community. So really having a reach out mechanism of some kind is vital right now. It really is. So they're the main things that I wanted to do on tonight's video. I'm going to try and do a video a day just on different things, but because the news may or may not happen in the next 24 hours, but even if it doesn't happen in 24 hours, it doesn't mean it isn't going to happen a couple of days after that. But it just helps us realize that every time we hit one of these little milestones, it brings up more stuff. And I was umming and ahhing about speaking to our neighbours anyway, but I think today when I heard that about we got less than 24 hours before he'll make a decision, it really made me think, if I don't do it now, it won't get done. And I thought, how many other people might be in that position? Because all of us, not all of us, many people you'll have thought about a lot of stuff, but not everyone's thinking about the people that live next door, the people that are in the local communities. Hey Yvonne, how are you doing, honey? So send me any messages if you think anything else. Oh, they trust that the places they have always trusted are still trustworthy. We are much more likely to question the government. Oh, so you're separating yourself from there. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so they're going to listen to what Boris is saying, what BBC is saying. Of course they are. And they'll have been reading all the newspapers. So they'll be in a lot more fear state than maybe other people have been. And that's why it's really nice not to knock on. Well, I'm actually interested. Freddie, do you think we should knock on or not? Like, is it one of those things? Let us know anyway in the comments. Like, it's one of these things. Everyone's going to do it differently. Work with it however you want to work with it. Contact people however you want to contact people. But just start thinking about who are the most vulnerable people in your community. That is the big thing that I want to leave people with tonight, because we've got a really small window where we can do something about it. So I am sending love to every single one of you out there. I really am. During all of this time, like, there's so much change that's going to go through, and there's so many different thoughts and feelings. So just understand that whether it is good or bad, these times will pass. Always have. Good times don't last forever. Bad times don't last forever. And when they're both happening, we think they're going to last forever. They're not. It will always change. Freddie says yes, but prepared for fear. So that's going to be around engaging with them, knocking on, or putting a letter through the door. That's where I think a letter is softer. Someone can just read a letter whenever they want. So I'll leave you with that for tonight. Ponder it. If you don't want to do it, that's totally cool. Ultimately, make sure you're safe as well. We can't look after other people until we're safe. But I'm going to do more videos on the self from tomorrow. For tonight, I want you to think about other people in your community. All right, everyone. Take care, and I love you all. My best. Bye-bye.